What's up, guys? Today we are talking batteries. I had a company called Goldenmate reach out to me over a year ago and asked me to test out their 100 amp hour batteries that you see here on my left. They sent me one. I didn't pay for the first one. It wasn't quite enough for what we do with our setup in our truck, so I went ahead and purchased with my own money a second one of the same style. I used them for a couple months. I was so impressed with how well they did and their price point. It's definitely a budget style battery, but they worked just as well as my name brand batteries that you've seen here on the channel in the past. I decided to go ahead and upgrade to their Bluetooth version that you see here on my right. We purchased with our own money. They did not send these to me. All four batteries that you see here, we have been running these four in our truck since last spring, and you've probably heard me hint around on the channel that we're going to be doing a battery review. You've probably even seen them in other videos in the truck bed, but today we're going to go over these in detail. I'll show you how we had them set up in the truck, because these four batteries in parallel have been phenomenal over the last several months of use. They have not let me down, and they've lived up to everything I've thrown at them. So let's take a closer look. I'll give you a look at how they were set up in the truck, and yeah, we'll go over the features on these things. Absolute monsters of a battery from Goldenmate right here. So here's what I've been running since last spring. We're going to climb up there and give you a good look. Typically we have our set power fridge right here on the slide out. Obviously I took it out just to give us a better look, but you can see we have the inverter, we have our McTuning 12 gang switch panel right there, our DC to DC chargers in the back. So if you want to see the entire setup, I do have an install video on the channel, but let me climb up there and give you a good look at the four batteries we have, and then we're actually going to take them out of the truck and give you a better look at them up close. Got everything else out of the way to give you a good look at how we have it set up, so you can see the four Orion 1000s ran in parallel. This has been an awesome setup. It is more power than I just about need for anything. Again, we'll give you a better look once we get them out of the truck, but I just wanted to give you an idea of how they're set up. Don't mind my wiring. I've been lazy. I've been meaning to clean this wiring up and get it in wire loom for the longest time, but again, you can see our 50 amp DC to DC charger back there, our McTuning 12 gang switch panel right there, and then of course all the appropriate fusing and blocks and all that good stuff. So how I have them in the bed, I know it's going to be asked. I literally just cleaned the ribbed areas, these raised areas on the bed, just cleaned them really good with alcohol, and literally all I've used is heavy duty double-sided Gorilla Tape. They haven't moved. It's been perfect. These have been in the truck for several months now, and the whole system has worked flawlessly. So let me give you a look at the app before we go ahead and disconnect this. We'll turn some light bars on. I'll show you the app and show you how all this works. And yeah, then we'll take them out of the truck, give you a better look. Real quick, you can see I just plugged the fridge back in just to show you how much power and everything this draws. Nothing in it right now. I took it out because it's been so darn cold. Took it out, cleaned it up real good. But you can see it's saying that's the internal temp right now, 33. Hopefully you can see it. I know it flashes on the screen sometimes. We have it on max mode, and we have it set to 0. So that's going to be on max mode, you know, going down to 0 degrees from 33, just to give you an idea of how much power and everything these batteries can hold up to. All right, truck is off. Here's our McTuning 12 gang switch panel. So let's go ahead and turn some lights on before we even go into the app, and I'll show you the you know, actually before we do that, let's go in and just see what the fridge is doing. So Goldenmate app, you can download it from the app store, and I'm just going to clear it, and let's go back in. You'll see a whole bunch of Bluetooth show up here. Basically anything that's Bluetooth is going to show up on your screen, but you're just going to look for your battery. So there's 3 of them. You can see 1, 2, 3, and there's number 4. So it doesn't matter really which one we click on, because they're all ran in parallel. So let's just click on whatever, the one that ends in 524. So you can see right now they're at 95%, and this is a pretty good idea of everything that's going on with your batteries. So right now the fridge is drawing 2.1 amps. The endurance time 45. It's going to bounce around a little bit, of course, because the amps vary in the watt the watts that are being pulled vary, but you can see roughly 45 to 47 hours left before the batteries are dead. And again, if we click on any one of the four, these numbers are going to be basically identical because they are hooked in parallel. So you can see up here 95%. So this app is pretty cool. Down here it'll tell you the temperature of all of the cells. So let's go to Fahrenheit. Again, it's been cold. Thankfully today is a little bit warmer. One thing I will say on these batteries, just like basically any lithium battery that does not have the self-heating function, if these temps dropped below 32, they will not charge until you raise the temperature back up to 41. Now, there are plenty of ways you can keep your lithium batteries warm. There's a ton of YouTube videos out there on stuff like that. I'm actually going to be doing something like that in the future, so stay tuned, but I'm not going to go into much detail on that right now because I don't have it done yet. But just wanted to mention, and again, this isn't a Goldenmate thing. This is literally just about any lithium battery out there. If they fall below 32 degrees, the charging will stop as long as they have a low temperature cutoff. Let me say that because not every lithium battery has that feature. These, of course, do, which is a very, very handy feature because you do not want to charge lithium batteries under 32 degrees. You will damage them. And it's basically you're done. You're gonna damage the cells and they're gonna be no good. So if you are gonna purchase lithium batteries and you're in colder climates, make sure you do purchase lithium batteries that have a low temperature cutoff. All right. So I just wanted to show you that. You can see each cell, the temperatures there. So the app overall, you can see the discharge state. The little light bulb is lit up there. So it really does kind of show you everything you need to know about your batteries. And I'll show you one of the other ones. So that was the one that ended in 2.4. Let's just click on the one that ends in 0.4. So again, numbers are going to be almost identical, if not identical, because they are hooked in parallel. So let's come on down and turn on some lights, and I'll show you how well the batteries do here. So let's turn on our ditch lights, the A-pillar lights. We'll turn on our 52-inch last fit light bar up on the roof rack. We'll do our 22-inch amber bar that's behind the grill. We can do our rock lights from last fit that we have on our, so we have 4 on the roof rack, 4 on the bed rack, two on each side of each rack. Then we could also turn on our, that's not hooked up to our batteries. Actually, that's our radar detector, but I do have that ran to the main battery, so that's not going to do anything for us. And then we'll turn on our rock lights under the wheel wells and underneath the truck. We'll just turn on literally basically just about everything. I don't have anything hooked to those 2 switches as of right now, so that's about it. But with all of that turned on, and again, guys, that's a decent amount of power, so you can come up and see with all of them turned on, we still have 11.3 hours roughly before the batteries are totally dead if we left everything on. That's the fridge, all of those lights, the fridge on max mode, which it never really is. I'm just doing that just to show you guys what these batteries can handle. Everything is pulling about 8.4 amps off each battery. And again, you can see roughly 11 hours, just over 11 hours before they would be dead if we left everything on. Last thing I'll show you is let's turn the truck on, and you can see the DC to DC charger that we have back there. Once it kicks on, it'll take a few seconds, but you'll see the charging will kick on, and you can see what happened there. The discharge light bulb went out, the charging light bulb came on. So it's telling us that each battery is getting about 10.6-ish amps of power. There's the watts, the voltage, and the full of time. So if we left the truck running, and again, the fridge, I turned all the lights off. You can see right down here, nothing else is on. But the fridge is still plugged in and running on max mode. But you can see the state that we're in right now. The batteries will be fully charged in 0.6 hours. All right. So basically, honestly, guys, like my drive to and from work, my batteries are literally almost always at 100% because just my drive to and from work keeps these batteries topped off at just about 100% at all times. And if you've been around the channel, you know my refrigerator that's in the back, the set power, that's typically in my truck 24/7, set at about 35 degrees. I use it as a fridge, not a freezer. Again, the only reason I took it out now is because we've had one of the coldest winters in the last 10 years, and I just haven't needed it. Everything has basically been, you know, it turned into a freezer on its own. It's been so cold, so that's why I took it out, to clean it out real well. But yeah, you can see what happens once you turn the truck on and these start charging up off that DC to DC charger. So one last look, that was 6.6, the battery that ends in 6.6. Let's just click on 04 again, and you're gonna see basically almost the exact same thing. Now that I gave you a quick look of how these four have been set up in the truck, let's take a look at these individually. So let's start with the one that they originally sent me. Again, they sent me the first one. I purchased the second one with my own money. So here you can see the specs: 100 amp hour, 12.8 volt, 100 amp hour, 1,280 watt hour battery. Now, I will say, when I tested these, you actually get slightly over 100 amp hour. So that's a conservative number. You know, they typically just label these batteries as 100 amp hour. Goldenmate's version definitely lives up to that and slightly higher. You can see over here the charge voltage 14.4, the charge current, you can charge it up to a 50 amp max, discharge 100 amps, and then one thing, and I may have mentioned it in the video, you can charge these anywhere from, as long as they're above 32 degrees, you can charge them. If they fall below 32, you have to warm them back up to 41 degrees before you can recharge them. Okay, so just keep that in mind, but it does tell you that right there. All right, so these are pretty straightforward. No Bluetooth on these. That was the only downfall of these original two that I was using. And again, that's part of the reason why we went ahead and upgraded to the Orion 1000s. Now let's talk about the Orion 1000s. These batteries have been awesome, as I've mentioned. 100 amp hour as well, 12.8 volts, so same specs, 1,280 watt hours. But again, when I tested them, same exact thing. They're rated as a 100 amp hour, but you do get slightly more than that out of them. So they are absolutely, Goldenmate really didn't spare any expense here. For such a budget priced battery, these things are phenomenal. I love the look of them. You can see it has a almost kind of like an army green base with the black top. One of the things that I loved about these, it has an LCD screen, I'm sorry, an LED screen here. So if you push that, hopefully you can see, I'm hoping the glare isn't too bad, but it'll tell you the percentage of the charge. If you hook something up to it, it'll, on this side over here, it'll show you, or actually, I'm sorry, I think it's this side over here. It'll show you the wattage being drawn off of it. When you plug it into charge, it'll show you the wattage going into the battery on that side. So you have not only the app that we showed you, but you can also take a look at the LCD screen here. Now, obviously, you're not going to see as much on the screen here as you will on the app, but if you just want a quick glimpse of what's happening, you have the, you know, the LED screen right there for you. Two handles on the side to grab these things. Lightweight, just like really kind of any lithium battery. These ports that you see here on the front, they do come with cables where you can connect battery to battery, so they can kind of communicate. They come with the cords. I chose not to use them, but it's totally up to you. And again, they do come with them. If you wanted to take the battery apart, which I have done just to look at the internals, they are cylindrical cells. These little tannish or like army green colored tabs, just get a little flathead screwdriver, pop them off, and then there's Phillips head screws underneath those tabs. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4 on the back, so 8 total. And then you'd be able to lift this black, the top portion off, and you can see the internals on it. So yeah, can't say enough good things. You have the specs on the side there. So again, basically same thing. You can charge it up to a 50 amp max for input. 14.4 volt is the charging voltage. 120 amp max discharge current. You can run it up to 150 amp discharge for, I believe it's up to 5 minutes. It's in the manual. And then temperature wise, same thing. That's the one thing this battery does not have. It doesn't have the self-heating feature, which, you know, again, not a lot of them do. And of course, you're going to pay a little bit extra if you want that feature. But I'm telling you guys, these batteries, I love the app, and these four in parallel, They've literally stood up to just about everything and anything I've thrown at them. For such a budget-priced battery, I cannot say enough good things about these things. And Goldenmate, I got to be honest, they're probably a little upset with me because they did send me that one battery, as I mentioned, over a year ago. And I told them I would do a review, but I wanted to really, after using the original two, the one that I purchased and the one they sent me, and then upgrading to these 4 Orion 1000s, I really wanted to get a lot of time under my belt with them just to see if they would fail, if the screens would go bad, if the app wouldn't work or crash. I have almost a full year under my belt of using especially these Orions, and again, they have never let me down in any way, shape, or form. I cannot say enough good things about them. So for anybody that does want to see the internals real quick, I went ahead and removed those 8 Phillips head Phillips head screws. You can see them right there. Flip it open, and you can then see the internals. So it looks like, I believe this is a 6 or an 8, it's an 8 gauge wiring that you can see. And you can even there's more Phillips head screws right down in here. So there's not on the green part, but down here inside, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You could actually remove the entire battery pack, and I've done it, and that's how I know they're cylindrical cells. I've kind of looked around down there. The temperature sensors, I have to say, what they did was on this side of the battery, you can probably see the black wiring running down. It's taped to the side, but the battery temperature sensors are actually ran into, like, in between the rows of cylindrical cells. So you get a very true temperature of what's going on inside the cells as far as the temperature goes. It's not like they just glued the temperature setting or the temperature things like on top or anything like that. It's in the cells, so you get a true temperature, so there's really no risk of damaging these things. And, you know, again, you get a very accurate reading as far as what the temperature of your batteries are. There you have it, guys. Good look at the Goldenmate batteries. Now, one thing I do want to mention that I don't believe I did already, these are not just meant for overlanding setups like mine. You can use these for trolling motors, fish finders, ice fishing, RV setups, basically anything other than starter batteries. These are not meant to be starter batteries, but you can use them in just about any other application. They're not just meant for the way I use them for my overlanding setup. I wanted to throw that out there just in case anybody's wondering. Okay, so if you have any other questions or concerns about these batteries, let me know. Put them down below. I'll help you out. As I mentioned, the links will be below. I appreciate you guys using them. And yeah, can't say enough good things about these Goldenmates. For a budget battery, I really don't think you can beat them. Questions, comments, or concerns, put them down below. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one.